Is this
You ready?
So I thought you're not going live or anything?
No.
Oh. I thought there was going to be people asking.
Did you want to go live?
Not really, but.
Not yet. We're not there yet. Okay, so if you have not been here yet, my name is Jessica, and this is my channel, The Real Life. And we were given the idea. I was given the idea to. I'm looking over there again, not over here.
I know. I was kind of looking over here too.
I was given the idea to come on here and do kind of like a how we met, how you met your mother type thing. But this is Jeff. This is Jeff, Jeff, not Geoff, not Jeffrey. He was born a Jeff. He's my partner. I don't know. I feel weird calling him boyfriend because I'm 40.
And I'm close.
You're close. Okay, so huh?
Not far behind you.
Yeah. He talks quiet. You gotta speak up though.
I know.
You gotta be obnoxious like me.
Yeah.
It's just us.
Not me.
It's just here. It's just us here. It's just a camera. It took me a while, you know that. Okay, so that was weird. Heard a noise. How we met?
Met you through one of my buddies I went to school with, didn't I?
Yeah, you gotta tell them though.
We were. I met her through one of my buddies I went to high school with. It was like the night before Super Bowl, and we decided to hang out, and pretty much from there on, we stuck together like glue and didn't leave each other's side. Bumped heads, but never left,
Yeah, we bumped heads quite a bit in the beginning. That is for sure. But that was in 2016?
2016 we met.
Something like that. It was a long time ago. Yeah, so I actually had to I was working, it's called CLS worker. Basically community type life support, whatever you want to call it. I had a client, was taking him to the hospital, and I was sitting there waiting in the lobby, and the guy that I knew of sat down next to me, and on the other side was Jeff. Never seen him before, day in my life ever. And I was just talking to the guy that I had known, and didn't really talk to Jeff or anything, but I seen him, he kept looking over at me.
Connected eyes a few times.
Yeah, we connected eyes a few times, but yeah, so that's how we met. We had a mutual friend, and then that mutual friend invited me over for a get together at his place with a few people, and
I just wondered how I never had met you before, being that I hung out with me and Jeremy were pretty tight, so I don't know how I didn't see you already.
Yeah, I don't know. I lived in that county for over 20 years, and he lived there at that point. How long in that county?
I moved up from Detroit my senior year, and that was what, was it 28 then?
When we met?
Yeah. Or not 28.
You make me do math.
Yeah.
About 28. Going on 28, I think.
Yeah.
I think it was.
My memory's kind of bad, but that's what I remember.
Yeah, so he, like he said, moved up from Detroit during his senior year, and he was 28 by the time that we had met, so we both lived in that county for quite a while. Never ran into each other, never met each other through anybody else until our adult years, so it was kind of weird because it's not really the place he lived and the place I lived were just a few minutes apart and very small areas, so it's kind of weird that we had never ran into each other at any point. But yeah, so that is how we met. Went to the party. What did I do? I brought pizza, I think.
Pizza and beer.
Pizza and drink.
I'm not supposed to say that.
I don't know. Pizza and some stuff to drink.
You gotta give me updates on what I can and can't say.
But I don't even know. I don't even know that part. That I'll bleep it.
We're done.
So yeah, I brought over pizza and drinks, and it was a get together thing, and I met somebody else. It was a female. I never met her before, but so yeah, went over there, hung out, did a lot of talking, getting to know people, and talked a little bit to Jeff. Not even really much. I was super shy because I don't know. I was like crushing on him, whatever you want to call it. Crushing on him real bad. And I was single. I didn't know if he was single, so I didn't want to like step on anybody's toes. So I really didn't talk to him much because people are weird about that.
Feel the energy.
Yeah, feel the energy.
Oh,
yeah. But I had a little bit to drink, and I wasn't driving nowhere, so I ended up staying the night. But before I stayed the night, before I went to sleep, we're out. Everybody's out talking to each other, and well, I don't even know how that even started. That comment that you had made.
What? Oh, about you're gonna be my girl.
Yeah, I can't remember. I don't know, but he had made a comment to me just out of the blue.
I think it was you're gonna be my girl or something of that sort, something along those lines.
Yeah, something like that. Something like you're gonna be mine, or you're gonna be my girl, or something like that. I don't know. Which kind of is like, wait a minute, what? Because nobody's ever just said that out of just out of the blue like that to me before. And
I mean, I wasn't like looking to like try to force you to be my girl, but I was trying to like throw it out there like a hook, like, can I get her to bite?
It was an awkward thing, but it was funny and it was cute to me for him to say that. He looks at me, he's like, you're gonna be my girl. I'm just like, what? Because I was pretty shy at that point, especially because I liked him, just by his energy and his vibe that he gave off and how he carried himself and things like that, and how he talked. And, he seemed pretty smart. And
She knows you're recording.
I think so. Is she playing?
I don't know.
Hold on.
Sounds like she's doing the rooster.
Anyway, I heard Scarlett. She's out there with the boys. It threw me off track. Where were we at?
How we met and where we met and what we did that night. Hung out and partied pretty much.
Yeah. So that started the beginning. 2016. Now there was some hiccups through the years since then that we've had to get over. There was on and off time. And I don't know if that's, do you want to talk anything about that, or?
Yeah.
But you gotta be
pretty upfront about
you gotta
what
be loud,
I've done and how my past has been. I had a choppy past. I kind of grew up crazy. I grew up in the city, like in Detroit. I was born in Pontiac, grew up in Detroit, Inkster, Southwest Detroit, Melvindale, River Rouge, down, popping around all through areas of, kind of like the lower end of town, downstate, Michigan, as you call it. But my parents, I love them to death, but most of my dad kind of lived a life of crime, and that was kind of what I was born into and pointed to, and grew up into that. And as me seeing that every day for all them years, it was a normal thing to me. It's like somebody would go out and do a normal job and work, going stealing stuff or selling some drugs, making money that way. That was a normal thing. It was no problem to me. But that's just what I was taught. Until I started to get older and started realizing, along with my parents passing, they had less of a grip on me also after that, because even being older and with them still alive and I still battled with drug abuse. It's another thing I've battled with heavily throughout my life. My dad got me into taking pills and stuff like that, and then I resorted to other things, more heavy things, and popping pills and snorting pills. That was me. Uh, or the quick hit of taking somebody's stuff. My dad would pull up in front of 10 storage unit buildings in broad daylight, cut 10 locks and throw the doors up and grab rims, you name it, anything of value. On it to the spots down in southwest Detroit. $500, it's gone.
How old was you when he was doing that?
I can remember back being 6, 7 years old and seeing my dad doing that. I just didn't really realize what it was going on at the time till I got a little older, and then realized it. You know, he'd go out and say he was working for my grandfather's drywall business, but he actually got stealing stuff, you know, doing that. Yeah, not good. But yeah, that's what I grew up into. I have been on probation or parole, either one, since I've been about 17 years old, and that's about when my drug use started also. Been in prison 3 times, 3 separate times, 3 bits. Altogether, I've done about 10, a little over 10 years. I finally, now for, I think it's been, 4 years? 3 years now, almost 4. I've been off paper, no trouble, anything like that. I've cleaned my act up pretty well, I have to say. It was a battle. It was definitely a battle. It was tough, but I knew I could do it, and I have good people around me. That's your number one thing, man, is having the right people around you. Because if you got people who are always down, which I know we always get down, but there's just certain people who get in a funk or get down and they just can't get up. Really depressed, which we all get depressed, we all get down. But it's definitely the people you have around you and the energy you keep around you that will kind of shift your movement and persuade your moods and movement on what you do. Because like a lot of the things I did back then, I could never see myself doing now. Nor could I see me making any of my children do anything like what my father made me do, you know, and push me into that or anything of that sort. I tell the boys all the time, I'd never push you to do anything like that. I want the best for you. I don't ever want to see you go to prison or jail or anything of that sort. Prison was, the last time I went to prison was when my mother died, and that was a pretty rough time for me. My mom dying and going and getting locked up right afterwards, you know, it was pretty hectic. And along with me getting locked up, my father got locked up, and so did one of my other brothers.
Do you want to take a break?
Give me a second. Damn. I need to take a break for a second.
Okay, we'll take a break. Push pause.
Like I was saying, I lost my mom just this last time I went to prison, trying to gather basically money the wrong way to pay for her cremation and stuff like that.
And this was in 2018, so this was 2 years, about almost a year, or almost 2.5 years after we met, that this had happened. We didn't have no kids together at the time. I had my 5 boys at the time. So he had been there in their life for 2.5 years. My youngest was 1, almost 1 or something when we first had met.
Yep, almost 1.
So what he's talking about right now is 2.5 years after we had been together. So
yeah, that was a rough time. I have to say, you know, I kind of had thoughts of, you know, not being here anymore on account of my mom being gone and stuff, but I pulled it together, and a big part of that was having her, you know, talk to me. You're able to call and this and that, and she just basically would talk to me and guide me mentally through the tough times.
This is when he had went to prison for what he had done, to try and gather money to help pay for his mom's cremation the illegal way. So yeah, you're good.
You know what's crazy is I didn't do nothing for them 2.5 years. I was good then, and then just once my mom died, like everything fell apart again. Like my dad went right back to that.
Well, and they say it's kind of like a trauma response. You kind of resort back to your old ways or your old habits when trauma hits you. So, and that's a big trauma, losing your mom. So,
Yeah,
and I never held it against him. I was mad, obviously. I was more disappointed than mad, really, and because my boys had gotten to know him as dad because their biological uh, fathers weren't in their life at the time, and um, that's another story. So he was kind of he was like dad, and they really looked up to him, and he was on the straight path, positive, mindset, and you know trying to help my boys out in any way he could, and things like that. So when he had went away, that hit everybody mentally. My kids, me, him also. I mean, he just lost his mom, and then he went in and he lost all of us, physically, in a sense. So that threw him into prison. So from 2018 to
I did 3 years on that.
2021,
a few years
2020 or 2021.
A few months before getting out, my dad had been passed.
Yeah.
He had been out a little while, like in a halfway house, something of that sort, and just hanging around with the wrong people. From what I know, he did some bad drugs and overdosed. That was pretty sad,
I actually, he called me because I didn't hear anything about it, but he called me 3, 4 o'clock in the morning.
Yeah, it was like
They let him call me
because they called me up to the front, like main area. The lieutenant talked to me and called me up there. I was like wondering what was going on. I haven't been messing around, so I know I'm not in trouble or anything. Close to getting home. I'm keeping it, tight. And I get up there and they're like, they found your dad dead in a motel room, and I'm just like, just another hit.
And at that point, I don't think they told you what had happened, did they? Because they weren't 100% sure what had occurred for his dad to pass away. So about 3 or 4 o'clock in the morning, I get the call from him because we stayed in touch the whole time he was in prison, and I was, I tried to stay there for him, be there for him, and I went and visited him and things like that. So what were you, 2, 3 hours away from me?
Yeah.
2 or 3 hours away from me, but I would drive all the way to go see him on a Sunday. Every chance I had got, I got to see him physically. I didn't have to see him behind like a glass or anything like that. So, yeah, so I drove that far, but he had called me 3, 4 o'clock in the morning. He said, he was crying, and I was like, what happened? What went on? I'm like freaking out, and he's trying to get it out, and then I had heard him like faintly say, "Dad's gone. My dad's gone." I'm like, "What?" And he says, "My dad passed away." And I'm just like in shock because I literally just was messaging his dad a week prior to that.
Yeah.
And his dad was wanting to meet up with me and the boys and told me if I ever needed anything to let him know. And he was happy that I was still in contact with Jeff. And it was like he was wanting to be there for everybody. And he asked me how Jeff was doing because he, couldn't have contact with him or something like that. I can't remember how all that went, but all the, little details of that stuff. But, so yeah, that was crazy. That was a pretty rough time for Jeff. And
all of us, I mean.
Yeah. Yeah, it was a pretty rough time for everybody. That's what people
understand. It's not just hard for the person going to jail.
Yeah.
It's hard on the people who love that person and,
Yeah, because I worried about his mental health in there. He, not only did he lose his mom, but he lost his mom. He went to prison, like shortly, like nearly right after that. And then just before he's getting ready to get out of prison, he loses his dad. And he's not able to be there for any funeral, any memorial, anything like that. So, that was a pretty rough time.
Yeah, and that was during the whole COVID-19, like when that started
Yeah,
You
that was
know,
during COVID.
because I remember watching on the TV. You know, we're limited to what we can watch in there on TV, and I remember seeing the ordeal about the toilet paper and stuff, and I'm just like, what? People
I
are going
remember
crazy
you.
over toilet paper.
I remember you asking me that too. You're like, "What is this about toilet paper?
That was
Everybody's
awesome.
taking the toilet paper. Everybody's buying all the toilet paper in the stores." And I'm like, "It's like the apocalypse in these stores."
I just seen it on the news one night because we get our information pretty slowly, unless you guys tell us. You know,
Right.
I see it, and I'm like, oh my god, about all the stuff that, you know, the essential needs. People are getting toilet paper. I mean, which I guess is a need, but I'm going for food and water.
I went,
Fuel.
I don't remember if I told you this, but I went into the store to get some toilet paper because we really did need some toilet paper. I was only going to get like a little 4-pack or something. I didn't believe that all the toilet paper was just flying off the shelves, but I went in there to get toilet paper. There was nothing, not even paper towel. Nothing. I'm like, you've got to be kidding me. I've got 5 boys at home that eat all day, every day, and I have no toilet paper. So I went to the baby aisle and got baby wipes. I was like, at least we'll have something.
when you know, it's funny when that happened, the toilet paper thing. In prison, guys seen that. Also, other guys, you know, besides me, they started taking toilet paper out of the boxes on the day they get toilet paper out, and they're shoving toilet paper up under their beds because they're like, man, stuff's gonna go down. We're gonna lose our toilet paper and this and that. So it causes a chain reaction. Crazy.
Oh man. So that's part of his life. You guys have heard a lot of my life on my channel.
I am also drug free now.
Yes.
You know.
Been drug free for a very long time.
You know. When I first got out, I did get it. Am I allowed to say what I did?
Don't say
what.
Don't say details of what the stuff was. You did hard things.
Yeah, but I got on something to help me get off drugs.
Oh yeah, he got on a prescription
to
that's
help me
given.
get off drugs, and I was on that for a couple of years, and then I quit that basically cold turkey, which was a little rough, but I did it because.
And that's why we bumped heads.
I could and I can.
That's why we bumped heads, and we bumped heads because I was. So he was in that addiction mindset, right? So what he was addicted to was what he was dominant on continuing to have no matter what. But
nothing else mattered.
Yeah, nothing else mattered. So that was like a teeter-totter, but I knew deep down inside that he wanted this family life and that we loved each other and he loves the boys and they love him. And this is before we had Scarlett. But yeah, so that was kind of like bumping head moment. So when he had gotten out of prison, we were kind of on and off at that point again. Kind of like, okay, so he was in prison, he gets out, and now he has to reset his brain for being out in the public. And it's hard. And him getting out of prison, he didn't have a car, he didn't have a job, he didn't have nowhere to live. So I guess what was your mindset on that? Why you didn't come back right away and stay?
You know, I was talking to other family and stuff, and I just, with losing my mom and then dad like that, I was I guess wanting to go right back to the scene with them and kind of, I guess, start over from there, because Jake was, you know, I'll help you, blah blah blah. Also, so were you.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? But I guess I was just unsure at that point, really exactly what I wanted to do, because you know I went to college when I was in there and stuff, so I didn't know if I wanted to travel or not doing that. You know, the lines and stuff. I really wasn't sure.
His brain was kind of like in a scramble on what he wanted to do in life, and the fact that if he wanted to feel like he was a burden. On the other hand, for me, because he didn't have anything, but
that's it. I knew there was some partying still left in me, and also, yeah, I don't like being like a user. Like, and I didn't really want to bring, if I was to party and do stuff, I didn't really want to bring that around you and the kids. You know what I mean? So, I don't know. I guess I had to get it out of my system. Right. You know, that was me being selfish, though. Once I look back at it. You know, to you, to keep the boys, you know, you live and you learn, though. You know,
Right.
that's something I learned from it. And you got to take the good out of even the bad experiences, even if it's just a lesson in life.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah. So, anyway, we ended up having Scarlett after all that was over with.
Which, I mean, we always talked about having a child.
Yeah, actually, what was it, the first year we had met?
Yeah, I wanted to have a child.
But like a half a year after we had met, he wanted to have a kid like now. And I myself had already had, physically had 5 with me. So in my head, I'm like, I don't want one right now. I'm not going to have one right now. And I knew his addiction problem. And we were struggling. He was on and off with his addiction. And sometimes he was great. He was off of everything. And then he'd bump back into it. And it was kind of like back and forth. So I made the decision on, no, I'm not going to have a kid with you right now. I'm at least going to wait 5 years or wait until your addiction is done and over with. Me thinking that I can snap him out of it.
Yeah.
No,
it doesn't
you
work
can't do that.
You're not ready to quit until you are mentally ready to actually quit it.
You cannot help somebody that has addiction unless they want to be helped. And at that point, his mindset wasn't there, so.
And you couldn't tell me otherwise at that point.
Right, you couldn't tell him otherwise at that point. But that's why we bumped heads so much. So it was pretty rocky in the beginning of our relationship. But yeah, we ended up having Scarlett in 2022. And I don't know. Sure, I mean that's that. We're together.
And survive.
We bump heads.
Surviving, baby.
We still bump heads.
Oh yeah.
It's not nothing.
See, that's what people don't
major
understand.
though.
If you don't bump heads, there's a problem.
Yeah, that's honest.
But
that's
if you
what
bump
I've
2 heads
said.
too hard and too much, there's a problem.
Yeah,
Too much of anything is a bad thing.
Right.
You need a balance in life.
If you don't have one person questioning the other, and this person questioning that other, and trying to figure out what's going on, then there is a problem. Like, it's fake. To me, that relationship is fake. You're gonna have disagreements. You're
don't view the world the same. Don't look at stuff the same.
You're not gonna like what the other person does or says sometimes, and the thing is you have to just learn how to deal with it. And sometimes I have a hard time dealing with it because he will ignore me and walk out the door and stay outside for a while, and I'm sitting there like itching, like I just want to say something to him.
I'm not one to yell or scream. I try to walk away and calm myself because I find from the past that when you speak and yell or whatever when you're mad, a lot of times things get said that you wish you could take back. And words are something you can't take back. So
and I
try to think it over.
I guess I struggle with the fact that I want to get the problem fixed now.
It don't happen.
I know.
That's how you want it.
Yeah, that's my problem. It's like I'm the type of person that wants to get things fixed right now. I don't want him to walk away. I want him to stand there and talk to me, and we'll have our disagreement, and then we need to come to the conclusion, but he won't. He'll just walk away, and then he'll be out of the room that I'm in for like 5 minutes, and I'll go to the room that he's in, and I'll act like I'm looking around for something. And I'd be like, so who are you talking to on the phone?
Nobody.
So what are you doing? So what's your plan? Oh man, he can deal with it though. He's pretty good at that. Well guys, that is it for us tonight. And stay tuned for part 2. Thank you for stopping by and giving us some of your time. Don't forget to like, subscribe, share, comment, and I'll get back to you on your comments whenever I can. If you have any other questions about us, just let me know.